All right, well, peace, peace, peace. First and foremost, man, hopefully the Most High in your house has blessing your day. By His mercies, you aren't consumed. We're liable the Most High in your house has body, and two are naturally alive, man. And I'm gonna get into this, man, because honestly, man, hold on, because we actually, we saw this. We saw. Also, I was with my family last night, man. We saw the Fantastic Four again. But you know what it is too. But y'all that seen the movie, I don't really want to spoil the movie, but it might be a spoiler alert. Well, I am just for this aspect because really in the movie, because this all goes into mercy and how this the honestly, that's why honestly do you see the difference between the Most High and Yahushua natural man, honestly, and we kind of get that Romans 5, but also it goes into the aspect of that the Most High Yahushua, they're men that they're entities, and they're men that they don't follow, like, anything that they ask us to do, they would do themselves, honestly. Now there is a difference, certain things they weren't, because listen, he's the Most High Yahushua, they're the king. Listen, they're just our authority, honestly. Like Yahushua's our authority, and so that's the thing too. So let me say that, put that disclaimer out, but. Honestly, because a lot of times too, because there was a scoff about this, right? And I remember watching Brother Send Me Firstborn, or it was the same, like, as this, right? Because this lines up with the Fantastic Four. And honestly, like, because I remember somebody saying, well, what God would, like, want you to give up his own son? But, like, shout out to Brother Send Me Firstborn for pointing this out. I never even thought about it until he even said, it's like, yeah, well, the Most High in the Most High gave Yahushua, his beloved, his son. He did it. So he's a man of his word. He follows his own principles, man. But I'm saying that to say, because y'all that seen the Fantastic Four already know that, and Galactus is supposed to be like, akin to, like, pretty much looks like a lot of Marvel comic book characters and DC characters, or in the comic book history characters. They're supposed to be like, supposed to be what you call them, like pretty much the Most High. Like, they're probably symbolic of the Most High. That's pretty much what they're saying. They're getting at, honestly. That's the, but different little nuances, honestly. But that's what really, because it's like with the, because even in the movie, Reed Richards says, listen, he's describing Galactus as a he's this this being without, like, without time. He pre-exists, like, existence, pretty much. He's like pretty much Alpha and Omega. Pretty much when he says it's like, okay, he's the Most High, honestly. But that's pretty much what to kind of get at. But also in the movie, Galactus wants their child pretty much to be a successor to him, pretty much his heir. It's kind of like he's kind of like a Christ type of figure, a little, pretty much, man. And then pretty much Galactus in the movie, he wants to save pretty much, no, the Galactus wants, like, to spare the Earth, pretty much. He wants them to give up their the promise, the child of the promise, the child that's will be his heir, pretty much, like, and that's what it is. But of course, Fantastic Four, like, the Sue Storm and the Reed Richards and Sue Storm say no, they try some other way. And honestly, I had this conversation with my sister, my aunt, and my sister, and of course, women in their maternal, like, instinct, in their motherly, like, that woman instincts, they say no, but me and my brother, we was like, listen, like, just like Reed Richards said in the movie, like he did in the movie, he considered it. Not saying, like, my sister said, listen, you wouldn't do that. I was like, yeah, but I will consider it, because think about it, to save a bunch of people, like, even people, like, even majority of people out here, the world isn't worth it, but to save people, pretty much, man, that's a mind, that's thinking like a mind like the Most High Yahushua, because that's what the Most High did with Yahushua, man. Honestly, now from a natural standpoint, I understand it, but honestly, like, that's a real, I can't even realize, like, listen, this thing is bigger than me, honestly, because if I was in that situation, hypothetically, I would consider that, like, honestly, but that's the thing. But let's get Genesis 22 real quick, man. But because it is too. But see, here's the thing, right? Because people don't realize, we're gonna get into this. Because here's, like, we see the Most High and your house shot, like, Most High, like, gave his son up. So, but he saw Abraham's face, so he didn't even let him sacrifice Isaac, or give up Isaac, of course. But Genesis chapter 22 verse 2, it says, and now take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and give it into the hand of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I tell thee. So see, that's what the Most High Yahushua, I mean the Most High, yeah, like, did, man. Like, he Most High Yahushua did that, and like, you've seen that. But the Most High did that. I mean, the Most High did that with His Son. So like, when people say that about what God would let you do that, like, well, even bros, no, because he do that with Isaac. Like, I mean, with Yahushua, he gave his son, man. But even though, of course, we know the story that he didn't do that. Like, the angel stopped him because he saw Abraham's faith. But and also cool. Also too, this was all foreshadowed. But Yahushua comes because of witness and testimony. But let's grab Matthew 3:17, because we gonna miss a week. Because when we like, I was talking to my mom yesterday, right? Words have power, right? And words have meaning. Honestly, words have meaning and power. Honestly, because it's something that even like really, I even messed up. Like, after watching the movie and like, kind of like a while reading the scripture, you forget the power of this verse, man. Like, let's go Matthew 3 real quick, man, because we gonna get into it, man, because like, and then we gonna hit probably Ezekiel, man. But even this is sidebar, even though like, those that follow comic books and like the comic book movies, that Galactus thing is never personal with him. It's just like a thing of survival with him. He just needs, like, yeah, that's what it is. And also too, if you do the origins of his story, Galactus did it one time before he was in human form. He sacrificed himself for his people, his plan. Then he came across some power that I think the Watcher, then the power, then which led him to this ultimate power to pretty much him becoming like, the universe or coming Galactus. I forgot the origin story. I gotta look it up again, or like, because I was watching on Watch Mojo, but yeah, y'all could probably read the comics or like, go into more like that. But yeah, man, it's just that aspect of it too, man. It's just like, but let's just get into this too as well. Let's get into this as well, because let's get Matthew chapter 3 verse 17, because the words have meaning and have power. And once you get into his meaning, you realize how much he loved. Even Proverbs, no, then we go Proverbs 8 real quick. Let's go Matthew chapter 3 verse 17. It said, and lo, a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved son, my beloved son, whom I'm well pleased." So yeah, if you look at the word beloved, because I was looking at it yesterday while I was watching a movie, looking up the definition, because it's popped in my eyes when I was talking to my aunt and my sister about it. Because get it, like, because as a natural, like, people as a natural human, especially a mother, like, not wanting to give her like child up. Because listen, I was looking at the aspect not to be cold or cruel, like, honestly, but I was listen, we could have in that situation, if that were to happen, we could have more children. Like, okay, if this takes, like, I had to give this, like, even we see this kind of in the aspect of what you call him, Jephthah, in the vow with Judges 11. Like, he gave his, like, of course he didn't let his daughter like pass through fire. I think I said that before, but that wasn't the case. He just her virginity, like, that's just like, he just had to give, like, she her up, like, her virginity pretty much up. Well, we see that kind of aspect with that, but that's something else a little bit. But but pretty much, honestly, what was the point? Let me read this again, man. Matthew chapter 3 and verse 17. He says, "And lo, a voice from heaven saying, 'This is my beloved son, whom I'm well pleased.'" So see, we see this aspect of, like, even from a natural standpoint, right? I understand that from a natural human, like, not wanting to, like, and that's not, and it's nothing wrong with somebody even saying that. No, I'm not giving my child up. No, like, that's what it is. That's why, even though it was a vision in 2nd Esdras 10, like, when the woman lost her son, she said, "I'm gonna grieve all my days," and things of that nature. Like, she had a feast for her son, pretty much the 2nd Esdras 10. I forget, and he he just died, and she, like, it is what it is. And also too, Proverbs goes into a mother, like better to mess with a to mess with a fool. I mean, to mess with a mother bear with her cubs and a fool. But why is it making that even analogy? Because messing with a mother bear and there's cubs, anything can happen, honestly. Like, that's why y'all seen the movie. She went so hard to, like, save her son. But y'all have seen the movie. But pretty much from a natural standpoint, I understand that. But you have to look at an aspect of, like, even a world that's not even worth it, honestly. Like, but still, like, you realize that Yahushua did it, like, because it's like really, you realize that it's bigger than you, honestly, because it was really the Father's will that one, he's doing it for him and the Father's namesake, but also two, you realize there's a bigger mission. Honestly, that's the difference between honestly men and women. Honestly, even most men will have that same feeling, but but certain times, like men will realize, okay, listen, in this, we it's not that you don't feel anything about it. It's just like, okay, but for change to be made, sacrifices had to go. Somebody in war, soldiers had to die, even so we can win the war. But even sometimes, like an aspect of like even like I was watching the Assembly Firstborn the other day. Even in the aspect of you want chick, because like here's our thing with a lot of times our people, like even on the natural tip, if you want to overthrow the government, overthrow this power structure, you have to go to war. And a lot of times too, a lot of people have to die. And if a lot of people have died, that means including like yourself. And you might not be living to see the change that you made or see the outcome of it. But that's just like the thing that you realize is bigger than you aspect. And that's kind of some aspect of this, because it's like honestly, that's the thing about it. It's the aspect of like okay, it's big. That's me and my brother was saying. Listen, we're not saying that we would do it, because like like my sister said, she's like y'all want to do that. I was like, yeah, Kai, we probably wouldn't, but you never know, because being in it's different between saying it and actually being in a situation like that, because that's what that Romans 5 what we about to goes into. But also too, man, let's read this again. It says, and lo, but a voice came, from heaven saying, "This is my beloved son, whom I'm well pleased." So you know what beloved means, because I know a lot of times too, especially our people like in the world, outside the world, we say, "What's going on, beloved? What's going on?" But you know what that means, man? That means that like Yahushua, the Most High really loved Yahushua. Like that's his beloved, that's his son. He loved him. That's why even if you look at the word, that's why Yahushua is a lion too, because if you're looking at that word beloved, if you look it up, what it means to lionize as well. So Genesis 49, Revelation 5, and Jeremiah, Yahushua is that lion pretty much, of course. So that's why I could tell. That's another scripture proving that. But also, man, that means he really loved, like, let's go Proverbs 8 real quick, man. He loved Yahushua, man. So just like, people love their children. I had that love for children, but he still gave him up, he still gave him up, even though, like, that's why, like, even Yahushua said he had love of, like, father, mother, son, brother, all family, loved ones more than me is not worthy of me. Now, and that's not saying like that you can't love them more, pretty much, or hate it. Not saying that you had to hate them. No, that's not saying. It's just you putting them over the Most High Yahushua. And honestly too, because Yahushua, the Most High did it. That was his beloved son. Like beloved means he loved Yahushua, man. He loves Yahushua even till this day. Like that's his son right there. That's his firstborn, man. So. But he gave him up for the world, man. Honestly, he did. So he did, because that's what goes into, and a lot of times too, that goes into a lot of times good leaders. A great leader is not going to do because you learn this even brothers that's been in the street before. Like I haven't, but I've seen his brothers in the street before. Y'all not really going a lot of times brothers in the street, and if it's a leader of a gang, clique, crew, whatever, Even sometimes that's the difference between like the mafia or mob per se. They're not just gonna let you join just to join. No, you're gonna do something real quick, because you're gonna have to get your hands dirty or something. But honestly, that I'm using this aspect because in the street, most for the majority of the time, not now, more per se back in the day, because now these guys just do dummy missions. These guys just if went from code keepers, honestly, kind of the time, even my pop's time, even that time before that, to cowboy stuff. Now these guys are doing all types of stuff. It is what it is. That's another story for another day. But you're in the streets, you're not going to do anything that the leader wouldn't want you to do. Honestly, like the leader of the gang, clique, or crew, you're not somebody. Majority of the time, well, some people do, because they're just kind of stupid like that, but they're just foolish, or they just want to be a part of something. I should say more than that. But they're not going to do anything that leader wouldn't want you to do. That's what a good leader is. You won't want anything that you to do the other than you won't want your subordinates to do something that you wouldn't do, honestly. So because why? Because that's what the main thing with Yahushua and the rich man. Honestly, that's an example. Because Yahushua was a living example of that. He left all his riches and things of that nature, sold everything he had just to suffer for the kingdom's sake. So that's why with the rich man, Yahushua was like, I'm doing that. So that was a prime example. Honestly, of course, the faith got tested. Honestly, because it's in that sort of faith and stuff like that is over the law per se. Nothing wrong with the law, but he said, listen, I've been keeping laws all my days. He said, well, sell everything you had, because really Moses left everything, Abraham left everything, Yahushua left everything. So that's is what it is. But honestly, that's a tell of a good leader. But honestly, too, man, that's just is what it is with that, man. But let's go to Proverbs 8 real quick, because that was his beloved son, man. So let's get this Proverbs 8 real quick. Yeah, Proverbs 8 and 30. He says, then I was by him, as this talking about Yahushua's whole Proverbs 8, the latter part. Then I was by him, as one brought him with him. I was his delight and rejoicing always before him. So see, yeah, man, he loved Yahushua, man, but he still gave him up, man. But even on natural tip, because because a lot of times too, I'm not built I'm not built like Moses. I mean, Yahushua, Moses, or any other any of these righteous people in his word, man, taking on that reproach or something like that, man, like a Yahushua, Moses, or something like that, man, because I'm not built like that, man. There's nothing, even with that, even like a Moses, David, whatever, they was, because let's get this Romans 5 real quick, man, because nobody else, that's why Yahushua was the most strongest man ever, not only not strong as in as far as physically, or as far as yeah, as far as build or things of that nature, as far as strong, but really spiritually, as far as his faith in the Most High Yahushua principle, there's no greater man to ever walk the earth, man. Because to die for people, to die for somebody for peoples and parties that don't, in the fashion that he did, that don't even care about you, or that hate you, man. That's different. That's why Romans 5 said no other man would do it, and rightfully so, man. Because naturally you're not gonna do that, man. That's why it was just that's why he's the most humble man to ever walk, because humility, humiliation, and humility, being humble, that there's kind of synonymous in that aspect, man. Because when you go through even on the left hand side, right, even in when on the internet, the people say this is a shaming ritual, this is a humiliation ritual, right? That's really to bring somebody down. That's humbling somebody, though. That humiliation, humble, they're very interchangeable, man. But let's grab Romans 5 real quick, man, because that's as it is. So not to want to give your son up, or child, that's understandable, man, because nobody else would do that, or even yourself up for somebody that don't do that too, because I wouldn't do it. But it was just something that I was thinking about, because I was now since I've been in the word, watch and listen to things with spiritual eyes and ears, man. So let's get this Romans chapter 5 and verse 7. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, but yet peradventure for a good man some would never even dare to die. So yeah, man, that's just is what it is, man. But this all lines up with the even movie, but even greater topic, because a lot of times two people say that, well, what God, why would the Most High Yahushua, what entities would want you to give your child up, or give or sin, because that comes off because nowadays, because we've been taught nowadays to be not as spiritual so much, man, because they in the ancient world they did because these were regular people, but now, of course, our ancient forefathers, it was more of a spiritual aspect to it, man. So that's is what it is, man. So yeah, man, that's just is what it is, though, honestly. But it says, for scarcely for a righteous man would die, yet peradventure a good man would even dare to die, man. So yeah, man. So to give to do that, man, something like that, to give your child up, or to give yourself or give your child up for the sake of the world, to save the world, man, which Yahushua did. He did which he did, man. But the Most High Yahushua did. He gave his only beloved son to do it. So the thinking with spiritual mind, it was something I considered. Not saying I would do it, but I'm wanting to hear y'all brothers and sisters responses, man. Okay, and of course, if you say no, if you think I'm bugging for this, or think, and then rightfully, so I understand it, because listen, this from a natural aspect, from a fleshly carnal aspect, I get it, but for a greater cause, it was something I would consider, man. That doesn't make anybody because it's it's the thing of mercy, you understand, think of okay, there's something bigger out there, but Yeah, man, I just want to get to that because that's really spiritually what this was going into, man. Like, um, yeah, man. Let's grab Ezekiel, man, because also too, I'm not even like Ezekiel because this is the same. Like, listen, he told this is Ezekiel's wife. Like, listen, like I'm gonna take the wife you desire, and Ezekiel loved his wife, but she said, listen, but don't feel anything, man, because yeah, man, because it's like that's that aspect of that, man. Uh, um, that was the aspect because he wanted that sunset. It says Ezekiel chapter 24 verse 16, and it says, "Son of man, behold, I take the away the desire in thy eyes with a stroke. Yeah, yet neither shalt thou mourn nor weep. Neither shalt thou tears run down." So yeah, also too, this is a precursor to like Yahushua being on stake saying, "Woman, when women were weeping for him, he said, don't weep for me, weep for those and this generation and generations to come, like who I'm saving from sin and death from, honestly." So yeah, man, that's just is what it is right there, man. So yeah, man, but Ezekiel loved his wife. That's why, if y'all even know, going back to comic books, we're gonna go on the DC aspect. That's what kind of caused Mr. Freeze, like to down the path that he did. Anybody knows the Batman villain, Mr. Freeze, his wife died, and so that, and also too, it was more out of grief that he does what he does now. Cause it is what it is though. But this is why the how shy, it's there's an aspect of because he told Ezekiel he's listen Ezekiel, I'm gonna take your wife from you who you really love, but just don't cry no weep, man. Ezekiel said, Captain, keep preaching the word, and Ezekiel did so, man. That's why, man, these men are greater than me, man. Honestly, man. So that's it is what it is. Do you not want to give your child up, or in a hypothetical situation to your child up yourself up to save the world? It's understandable, but something to consider though. I'm not saying that I would do it per se, but something to consider, like spiritually minded, being spiritual aspect. Yeah, it is, man, because honestly, man, because the Most High did it with your house. I mean, that was his beloved son. Yeah, I really want y'all to look up the word beloved, man. It's really deep. Like, he really loved Yahushua, man. But he did it. Oh, of course, for his namesake, and he also did it for his father and his namesake. And also too, for people that didn't deserve it, man. Even those that believe on his name, whether Israelite or or Gentile or heathen, man. Those that still we all didn't we all not worthy of salvation, man. I know I'm not worthy of salvation, but by his mercy we aren't consumed, man, honestly. So yeah, man. So especially thing for our forefathers did, what we do now and what we continue to do, man. Things I've done in my life. And still, so yeah, man, nobody's really worthy, man, honestly, man. So that's why a lot of times too, when we beat ourselves up, we can't beat ourselves up too much, man, because none of us is worthy, man. Even because a lot of times too, when brothers and sisters come into this word, I had this still, even to this day, why me? It really shouldn't even matter, honestly, man. The Most High House I called you, so answer, hearken to that call, like we talked about the other week, because if you, it don't even matter, because even if you sisters, if you was a prostitute or a hoe or or whatever he did, or brothers, if he was in the streets, hard body, or if you might have took a life or something like that, or or whatever you did before that, or you just really being who you were before this, or I'm shoot somebody else that wasn't doing those things before they came to war is no different than you, honestly, because that just that aspect of this unbelief is just as bad. So yeah, I mean, from a natural standpoint, yeah, of course amongst people, but in the Most High house, it's really no different, man. So that's why can't beat ourselves up too much, man, because we're it's like Wayne's World, man. We're not worthy. I know I'm not worthy, man. Honestly, I'm not worthy. That's why Psalm 43 and 30 goes into, listen, when we praise and serve the Most High house, give him all that we got, man, because even all our best isn't good enough, man. So yeah, man, I just want to touch on this aspect, man, because the Fantastic Four had that aspect to it, man. So, and it broke the conversation after the movie I had with my peoples, man. So, and I think it's really good, man, because it all lines up with the Most High House Shot, man. Because they won't do anything that they want actually do in the aspect of, and also to go into aspects of how much love the Most High had for Yahweh Shah, man. That beloved, man, that means he loved his son, man. Honestly, he really loved his son. But listen, Well, he said, listen, even if he does something, he's no different, man. Like, that's why in Second Samuel he said that, man. But also, too, man, he really loved his son, man. But he gave his son up, like, and Yahushua did it willingly, too. Like, honestly, man. Like, of course, he was sorrowful on the death because he was scared. Like, he's about to die. He didn't want to die. But, no, he realized that, listen, the book has to be fulfilled. My father's will has to be fulfilled, man. So, honestly, yeah, man. I just wanted to come in with that. So, anyway, peace.